you, Rob. All right, so welcome everybody here to the meeting today, to our October the 10th board meeting. Our first item on today is the invocation, and Mr. Long, would you be so kind?
Yes, I say good evening, everyone. And thanks. Almighty merciful Father, I ask you to give thanks to you, God. Bless you.
Mr. Long, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance too, sir?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Long. All right, next item would be the approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any changes to the agenda, additions or deletions to it? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Move that we approve.
All right,
Second.
got a motion and a second. Any other discussion on it? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Next is the approval of minutes, and we only have the September the 12th minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, can I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
All right, I got a motion to have second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, update from Northumberland County Schools. It's not going to be any, Dr. Wargrove or Ms. Tara Booth's not going to be here, so, but we do have Mrs. Martha Williams here. Good to see you, Ms. Williams.
Good evening. Nice to see you. I tried to slip in here and give you all everything that I had so that we wouldn't waste time passing things out. And a lot of this is self-explanatory, so I'm not going to belabor. We're doing some exciting things at school. We've started our Saturday school, which has been received well in all three buildings. It kicked off last Saturday, and you'll see that there's some really neat pictures of our students picking some pumpkins. And what's interesting about this is they grew those. They planted the seeds last June, and they've been watching them since we got back, and they've been so excited. So we took a small group out, and then a few times this week I took some more kids out, and they picked some, and they're moving them from the patch in the back to the front of the school. So some of them had a little trouble understanding why they couldn't take them home. We had to explain that they didn't go any further than that one little spot. But that's been exciting. We do butterflies in the spring, but we did pumpkins in the fall. Our cross-country team is on its way. It's had 3 races, and they're off to a great start. It lists here our folks that are participating. That can also be found in Dr. Wargo's newsletter. Best wishes to our golf team. They are regional champs, and they have had a fantastic season so far. Our field hockey, they honored the seniors last week, and that was a nice event. And afterwards, they had dinner, and they joined with the family and laughter, and they just had a really nice time after the field hockey game. So that's been a very positive. They've had a lot of wins. They've done a great job, and you'll see that there's some pictures of them at dinner, etc. October 7th to the 11th is the Virginia Farm to School Week. I believe that Miss Hamlet is having some sort of pirate theme for that week. She's been trying to bring in a lot of locally sourced fruits, vegetables, and even meats into the schools, so we've seen some changes in that. Hopefully that will continue. Our Fall Color Run is tomorrow, October 12th at 10 a.m. That's sponsored at the high school. Powder Puff Game is going to be October 16th at 6 p.m. It's $4, and it's the junior girls and the senior girls. NES will have their Harvest Festival. That's a community event. It has lots of activities for the kids. A lot of fun. They had a great time last year. It was received very positively by the community. And so that's going to be 5 to 6:30 and at the elementary school. The Halloween Boo Bash is Thursday the 24th. So if you want to get a place and pass out candy to the kids. You can see Morgan up there, and she can set you up with where to be for the Halloween Boo Bash. The YMCA is doing an evening with Spooky Edition, lots of fun for the family, on the 26th of October. And then not to forget our Unity Day that we have on the 16th. We have orange. We wear orange and we share that day. Leading up to Unity Day, we have the kids talk about a lot of things that you can do to be kind to one another. They work out ways that you can deal with situations using your words, and that's in all 3 schools. They celebrate Unity Day, so that's a big thing on the 16th. And then our Fatherhood Field Day, DSS for Lancaster and Northumberland is putting that on, and that's a time when parents, fathers primarily, and their kids can compete, and that's going to be a nice event, and it's going to be at the Boys and Girls Club in Kilmarnock on, does she have a date here? Yes, the 19th from 12 to 3. I think that concludes that presentation. We have our calendar, of course, and anybody can find this information on the website. If you click Superintendent's Newsletter and then click here, the same document that I passed out to the Board of Supervisors can be viewed on there. And she updates that every week with the events that are going on. Would you like me to go to my next thing, or?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Saturday school.
Yes, sir.
You may not be the right person to speak to all 3 schools, but maybe you can to the elementary school. What type of attendance have you had so far?
It starts off fairly slow. We look at mainly, we start off with attendance, but also because all of the curriculums in all 3 schools, they're all intensifying. When a child is absent, it's very difficult to make that up because most of it is in class, whole group, teachers teaching. It's not, back in the day, you could have things that you could send home. You could have worksheets and things. So it's also an opportunity not only to get kids to come to school if they've missed school and the state is recognizing that as makeup, it's to allow students who have maybe missed a specific amount of time to come in, and the lessons that they missed can be taught to them during those times. And so it's a nice makeup time, so when children don't have a skill, you can bring them in, get them up to speed. They don't have to come to every one, but it just, and it's open, it starts attendance. I had great attendance last year. We started off slow this year. I had about a dozen. I'm not sure about the middle and high.
How do you get the, you realize that you have a lot of grandparents that's raising
I do.
kids. Now, how do you get that information out to them? A lot of them don't have computers. Do you call them or?
Oh, no, we send home a letter. We send home a permission slip. If it's for an attendance or a makeup reason, then we call them. Mm-hmm. And the teachers have kids that they'll make a call, they'll talk to the parents, they'll say, your child was out this day, this day, this day. I'd like to give him some remediation, catch him up. Can he come in such and such Saturday? And that's the way we operated it last year. It seemed to be successful, and we got our kids in there. So hopefully it will be the same this year. Any other questions about that? Okay. Last month I was here concerning the playground, and you all asked me to get some more bids, so I've kind of put something together in trying to complete that task. The playground specialist, I didn't give you a great big book like I did last time because you all already have that. I just hit the highlights on that for the dollar amounts and the different things that they're planning to do in their bid. I also got a bid from Carolina Design and Recreation. From them, it is a little bit lower. I went through both bids very carefully to just kind of look at what they were offering. And if you look at the page after that, it says proposals submitted for consideration. The thing that's big about the playground specialist is they have included 425 linear feet of perforated drain pipe, including a trench. They're also including stone. And I did put a total there because they started with the removal and disposal of the playground just like the other one for $8,300. And then they're also going to take off a minimum of 5 inches of the old mulch that's there to try to get a good surface to work with. if you look at the plan on Playground Specialist, you can see the drain pipes. What they would do is take those out of the playground and go under, and then that low area on Academic Lane that runs under the road and across, they would actually drain the water just like that with those drain pipes. So that's his plan to drain. I like both plans equally. I was disappointed that Caroline Design cut us about 19,000 square feet. I did ask him about that. He misunderstood about the road, and he didn't put anything down about the drainage, and so we had a conversation about that, and he said it would be about $50,000 added if he added the drainage. So that's the information I had from him. Playground Specialists, I talked to Mr. Latham today, and he told me that he will honor this price. He gave us this, I believe, in May. He gave us this price in May. He said he will honor the price that I gave you all at the last board meeting, and he would not go up, and he would do everything that's in that proposal. He also sent, and I believe it's in your packet, he said if you wanted to fully bond the entire amount, that would be $16,000 and some change on that. That's in your original document, and he has the information on that page. I have it here, but I don't understand all of that like I should. So he just told me that was significant. Yes, sir.
I'm wondering why the freight is so high on the playground, more so than the Carolina. The playground people up in Maryland, and Carolina people in
On the freight,
North Carolina, almost twice as much money.
it probably has to do with the equipment. It probably has to do with the amount of equipment. Playground, Carolina does not have as much in their cost for actual playground equipment as Playground Specialist. They seem to have more equipment that they're shipping. It also has to do with who they're using to get the equipment here. Carolina works with a company where all of it is custom made. It's manufactured, both of them. You get it you pick what you're going to get, and some companies give you choice, some don't. Carolina Design is going to give you a choice. Playground Specialist didn't say anything about, color choices, things like that. But they get it made, and that's kind of the delay, is it's going to take about 10 weeks to get it made, the equipment itself, once it's selected.
The one place makes it all?
No, sir. They get it from different companies, and these two are using different companies. They're not using the same company to make it. On this one has one company. Playground Specialist is using Playground World, Berliner Play Equipment, and then they've put their discount that they get on that, and Play Spec Rainbow, which has got something to do with the surface. Carolina Design is Pour and Play. It's not a whole lot of difference between Pour and Play. They don't prep the surface as much. When you put the rubber down that they're doing, I don't believe it's the same product as this one's using. It ends up being the same, but it's a different company, just like the playground equipment. So the shipping is ridiculous. But then I asked for a little booklet the other day and paid $16 to ship it, and it was 5 pages.
Yeah, I don't know, is this a tractor trailer load or 2 tractor trailers?
It would definitely be at least 1 tractor trailer load. It's a lot of equipment to bring it in for a space that large.
But they're getting it all together at their place and then bringing it down.
Yes, sir. The company makes it, they ship it. So you finalize the playground plan, you get it all straight on what you're going to order, what you're going to have. The company orders it. It takes 8 to 10 weeks for the manufacturer to build it from whoever they order it from. Once it's built, then it takes between 18, 20 weeks for them to actually put it all together, pour the playground, put it all together with the drainage and everything, and get it finalized. So if we approve this tonight, we would hopefully have it in July. So
This figure on shipping includes what they have to pay to have the merchandise shipped from the manufacturer to them, correct?
I think they ship it directly to us.
From the manufacturer?
Yes, sir.
So it doesn't go to Maryland?
I don't think it goes to Maryland. I think it comes straight from the manufacturer.
It's all coming from different places?
It comes from whatever company they use.
One place?
They have a lot of, let me,
But maybe it's not coming just out of Maryland. Maybe it's coming.
no, sir, that's just his company. They do, most of these do Maryland, Virginia, and DC, the larger companies. We have some that do like just Richmond and they're smaller companies. Some just will give you the equipment, but they will not put it in. Some only put in and you have to pick out the equipment and have it delivered. So that's why there's only 5 choices here, because a lot of the companies that we talked to last year and this year, and some of these are from last year. I know the one, we tried to meet with the man when he finally called us, and he just didn't come. We tried him again after our meeting in September, tried several of them again, and this is how I was received on that. So I don't know, it seems like a mighty nice project that somebody would want to do, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So the shipping is going to depend on where they're going to get it made, the company they make it from. And I think they have in detail in your book for Playground Specialist, they have something from every company they order from noted in there. This one has some, but he didn't put as much because I think he gets it from the one place because he only had one color chart. So I'm thinking it's the one place.
The one's almost $5,000, the other one's almost $9,000.
Yes, sir.
Do they do old equipment removal and site preparation while the equipment is being manufactured?
I think they're going to do all that. I don't know if they're going to do it while it is, but they'll do it before it arrives. Yes, sir. And our hope is, there is one small thing on the playground that was the PFO purchased recently, and we're hoping that they will, the playground specialist guy, when he was down here, he said, we'll move that to the other end if you want us to, or we'll move it over to the side part where your tree is. But, you don't have to get rid of that, because we didn't want to get rid of something that could still be used, and it's a thing that the kids climb on. So we asked him about that one. It's jacks. It's like 3 jacks, like you throw jacks and have a ball. Well, it's the 3 jacks, and the kids sit on it. So, but he said he'd be happy to move that. They both seem very nice, willing to work with us. I stress that we need handicap. We need to add handicap to it. We need children in wheelchairs to be able to roll up on it. It has to be handicap accessible. Playground Specialist has said that they will use our existing concrete and markers. Carolina does not include that at all, and they said we would have to have that. We would have to have concrete for that, and we would have to have that poured locally. So that would be another expense. I tried to get it all in one package, but he sent me the bid, and then I'm like, we talked about this, this, and this, and then he gave me reasons why he didn't put it in there. I don't know. So anyway, it is a very important project, and as all of you know, for the last 2 years, it's very close to my heart. If we act on this now, we could get it for the kids next year. If we started last year, if we keep putting it off, it's not going to get there any closer. And they really, if you come down and look, people who have come down and looked at the playground, they're just shocked at what it looks like. It looks like it's in a near a deserted building that's just been left. So it's kind of sad. Any other questions?
Board members got any more questions?
I got a couple. First, I want to apologize that my phone rang.
Oh, that's quite all right. Life moves on.
I know this is near and dear to your heart, and you've come before this board the last couple of years. And the playground is in bad shape. And Mr. Long asked a question last month regards how long it's been like this. I found some information that was in a 6-year plan from the school that this was a huge concern back in 2014.
Yes, sir.
And it's been kicked down the road till now, and now it's urgent. It's going to cost a whole lot more money now to do it than what it should have if it had got their attention back in 2014.
It is, and it's not going to be any cheaper next year. I mean, it's not. And as you know, as all of you know, I was teaching. I wasn't the principal then, so I wasn't in charge of what everybody did with their money. But I try very hard since I've become principal to play an active role in what's going on and to be thrifty with, the money that I have in my budget and make sure that it's used primarily for children, because that's why we're all here as kids. You know, and there are more and more mandates for handicapped children and physical activity coming down all the time, not only from the state, but the federal government. And we don't have that. And, you know, we just don't have it. And unfortunately, it hurts my heart to say, we have more and more handicapped children coming every day.
I just wish that the construction funds were used differently. I feel that this playground is, in which I've seen it, it's in this bad a shape, and we're preaching child safety. Then that should have took priority over top of painting, carpet, a roof lap. Then we could have addressed those issues.
I was in that meeting. And
that's where it gives me a little bit of heartburn, because this playground could have been fixed. And it was my understanding that the playground was going to be fixed. And now it's back on the board to come up with $500 and some thousand to do a playground. And I'm not denying that the kids don't need it, but it's frustrating that the money was there.
yes, sir. I was in that, and what they did when they had the grant is they looked at what they could do with it, and if they did, the track has also been long on there, and it has gone up just unbelievably. I can't even believe how much that track cost, but it's just what's happened, and we had that for years and years, I think 7 or 8 years. We were looking, and the surface of the track was separating. We weren't going to be able to compete in our own county. So when they took the price of the track off of that, and the flooring, that took a huge amount of it. So they didn't have enough for the playground. So the discussion of the board, and I was sitting there, was if we do these two things, we're not going to have enough for the playground, but we can get the other things on the list. Now, I don't really have anything to talk about the list, but
Child safety.
yes, sir, we are.
That should have took priority over anything else.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not giving.
Oh, I know, and I said the same thing. I didn't just talk to y'all.
That's why I have a little bit of heartburn about it, just because you stand before us, and we got parents coming to us, we got teachers coming to us, and we hear the safety of the children, the safety of the children.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree with you 100%, but when it comes down to it, playground's not fixed, and it could have been fixed. And I'm not trying to give you a hard time, I'm just trying
I know that. I know that.
to get a good understanding on why it didn't get fixed.
Well, I was excited to come before you last year. I went before the school board. I came before you gentlemen. I've been working on it. When I sat in the meeting and I knew we needed a track, I couldn't argue that. I just couldn't argue the track. That took, I don't know, over $300,000 of the money right there. The floor was over $400,000. The floor was a mess. It was. Children, it was bad enough, but when the kids were eating on it during COVID, it was a disaster. And if you saw what they took up of our flooring, I can't even believe our children played on it. I really can't. When you took that $700,000+ out of that money, there was no way we were going to get a playground. And it broke my heart sitting there listening to that as well. Trust me. I do know, and I don't know, and I'm not going to get into the financial weeds because I'm Miss Williams and I don't do finance if I can help it. But I do know that the school board office told me is that their funds that they had budgeted, and they paid whatever they paid with ESSER, and so they're returning those to you. I don't know what the dollar amount is on those funds, but I know that some money's coming back to you. And so the last I heard, Ms. Booth told me that there would be money coming back so that it wouldn't come out of the current county budget. Again, this is my 4th year. I'm doing the best I can do.
Yeah, do you know anything about that?
I don't, and I would have to get with Ms. Booth on that, because a lot of the ESSER monies were reimbursed funds, so that means something was paid out in order to get those monies
So
back.
it can't be spent twice.
No.
No, can't be spent.
So I would have to get with Ms. Booth on what she's referring to there.
I think what she said in the last meeting, when we were in here in the last meeting, I think she said that the things that were budgeted, they took out of the ESSER before it ran out, which was September 30th. And when they took that out, they didn't pull from the money that was in the budget. So that money would be returned. I don't have a dollar figure on that, I just, in getting the explanation, that's what I got out of the conversation, as far as funds, because it is a big ask. It's a huge ask. You know, in school, and safety of children should be the priority over academics, over, you know, anything. Safety is the very first thing you think of 24/7. It's keeping our kids safe, making them feel safe. That's the priority. And so, you know, I apologize for whoever didn't come to you before, but I'm coming to you now.
So the existing playground, has that equipment been inspected? And if it's not safe, has it been taken out of service?
It's cautioned off and they can't use it.
Okay. And I guess what's coming to mind is, I think back in the 80s, piece of playground equipment, not here in this county, but in a neighboring county, actually broke. And the outcome for the child was not good. And we don't need that here.
I'm very concerned about that because on the weekends, we have no control on who's on that playground. And personally, I would like to just have the pieces that are singled out and roped off just removed altogether, even before they do.
That was my next question. Could you have it disassembled and taken off?
I would like to have Mr. Brand do that, yes, sir, and I would certainly ask him to do that.
How many pieces would that be?
It would be the majority of the playground. They would have, I think there's an old metal jungle gym on the far right side. They're the jacks that I was talking about, and there's a little balance beam. And other than that, there's really nothing on the playground. We had to board up the piece that you get on and go up to the slide. We had to board the whole top of that off because that was cracked and broken. We took another slide off for the littles because the bolts were coming up through it because it was cracked. We had the rope piece we've had to block off because all of the material is off of it and it's metal, and we're afraid the metal is going to get in the kids' hands. That would have to go.
Have you been in there, Mr. Williams?
I have not walked on the playground. I've been to it, but I haven't walked on it.
Gotta pay it a visit.
I would love to have it removed, the pieces, just mainly because if somebody's down on the weekend and gets hurt,
It's a liability.
it is a liability. It's a serious liability.
Is the removal of the old equipment itemized in either one of these quotes?
Yes, sir. They removed the equipment, and that's the very first one.
Is there a dollar amount by that?
Yes, sir. If you look at the chart, yes, sir.
16,000 for
For,
Lina
yes, sir.
and
The top figure
8,300.
for the removal of the equipment. I don't know how much of it Mr. Brand can do with his crew. I'm not sure how it's anchored in there. It's sunk in 27 years of mulch, so I'm not sure what's way down there. I know that when we were first there, the swing that was in the front of that playground, way down deep in that mulch, there were anchor spikes down there, and they are coming up. So they've been trying to either get those out or put cones over top of them. Primarily, our teachers are using the blacktop. They're just trying to stay away from it, especially with their littles, and they play over there on the blacktop at the other end, which is Miss Burgess's classroom. So that's where they're all going, and it's not a large space. And even if I have everybody with their recess staggered, it's still a lot of kids on a piece of blacktop running wide open.
How many kids do you think are there at one time? 50?
Probably 75 to 100. If you take an average of 80 to 100 per class and they stagger, and I can't start them right away in the morning, but I start them, I believe, at like 10 something, and they go right on out until 1:30, and then they can't be out after that because that's when you're making transitions where children go. We need to know where they all are, get them together to go home. So nobody has recess after that time. So in that limited time, I have 550 students, about, give or take.
All right, gentlemen, any other questions?
Thank you.
Fisher? Ms. Williams, I do agree with Mr. Brand on this. Safety of the kids is more important than anything else.
Yes, sir, I do too.
I know he's not picking on you, he's not fussing at you, he's just stating some facts.
I don't feel like he is. I really don't, Mr. Brand.
And I think his entire board considers the children as more important than anything else.
Yes, sir.
We'll have to look into this.
Okay, and I will look into seeing if I can get that equipment removed when we get back next week. We're on, we have Monday off, but we'll look at that with Mr. Brand, and I'll shoot him an email to let him know. Do I need to do anything else before you all vote on this? Bring you anything else?
Just got to find it where money's going to come from.
Gotta find the money first.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I did not take offense at all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Any other comments on this while we're here? If not, we can move on. All right.
Mr. Chairman, you do have 3 items that the school division had brought to the board's attention on a transfer, a carryover, and a supplemental appropriation. I don't know if the board wishes to take any action on that, or if you all have specific questions related to those items. You can get those questions to me, and I can get those to Ms. Booth.
Is it anything that I'd rather have Ms. Booth and Ms. Wargo here to
Okay.
ask questions?
Got questions on to it.
Okay. I can let them know.
Yeah. So I agree with Mr. Brand. I think we just need to hold off on this till next month. That's all right with the rest of the board? All right. All right. And next item then would be an update from Economic Development Commission. Karen Picker, come on up, please, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for the time. And you all have a report from us in your packet, but I felt that this was something that we really wanted to share based on the meeting we had in January. The EDC is partnering with the school. We're having the first Career and Job Expo. Our inaugural event is going to be on November 2nd. Yeah, it competes with the Oyster Fest, but we think it might be a different audience. So we have been personally, the commissioners have been personally going to businesses in the county to invite them. If there are other businesses that would like to attend, we're happy to have them. No cost for this event. It is countywide. It is being held at the J. Rotze building. We have partnered with the Bay Workforce Development Consortium to share the word. We've gone to the Department of Social Services to make sure that all their applicants and community members know. We've got a flyer that was developed by a student at Norfolk State University. One of our commissioners got this done for free. We're getting, trying to put some announcements as much as we can out to be publicly available so we can spread the word. So if you have any folks that you meet, run into, please let them know. We're going to have employers there. There's probably room for maybe 20 or 30. We're not sure. We're going to have the tables set up. So we're waiting right now on the responses coming in. We've had a good response from the businesses we've visited with respect to excitement around the event. And then also the one we're planning on the spring, which will be more of a career expo type of event, where we actually have demonstrations of the plethora of career opportunities that are available in this county. There's a lot going on in this county, and I'm not sure everyone is really aware. So we've got Dr. Burns at the school has been working with all the emergency personnel and law enforcement. Jane, I just dropped off your flyer. We've got the library attending, we've got the school attending, we've got several of the 20 top employers in the county that are attending. We're going to have raffle, everything is donated, so there's no cost to the county for this event. And there you go. Any questions?
Questions, board members?
We get an email sent out to us as that date gets closer as a reminder, so we can attend.
Well, it's November 2nd.
November 2nd. I'll write it down.
It's from 9 to noon.
What time?
9 o'clock. The setup starts at 8. We'll have coffee. We're getting coloring books for the kids if people come by with their kids. So we're hoping for big enough but small enough turnout. We're going to take the lessons we learn in this event and apply them in the spring, but since it's our first one, 9 to noon.
9 to noon, and it's at the
J. Rotze building at the school.
the new building.
In the new building, yep. So there's plenty of free parking.
ARCT building.
Okay.
All right, and that was, what was the date again?
November 2nd.
November 2nd, all right. That's at the building.
I'm writing it down, but I'll forget when I write it down, so I need a
We'll make sure.
reminder.
Don't worry.
All right, thank you. All right, next would be a update from Virginia Department of Transportation. Mr. Beal?
Hey, good evening. How are y'all?
Good evening, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Just have a brief report for you tonight. We've cleaned some pipes throughout the county. I won't list all those roads, but half a dozen roads we've cleaned pipes on. The mowing cycle on the secondary routes is mostly complete. The grass is cut. We're still picking up litter and doing some weed eating. We cleaned the ditch on Folly Road, cut some brush on Ditchley Road, and we're keeping up with work orders, potholes, and sign repairs countywide. On the plan upcoming, we're going to be cleaning ditches on various routes. We have a pipe replacement still to do on Gagnon Road. The primary mowing will start next week, and that includes litter removal on all the primary routes. We'll keep up with potholes and work orders. We're cutting some brush on Bluff Point Road. We still have the drainage improvements at Wacomico Church to do, and we have some asphalt patching planned on Sidner's Mill Pond Road and Font Hill Road. We do have the rented sweeper, so we're sweeping curb and gutter throughout the county, and we're also working on preparation for our four-letter word that shall not be named season, snow. So anyway, we're cleaning up equipment and getting the spreaders tuned up. I will tell you too, we've also had opportunity to help our friends in Southwest Virginia. We sent about 11 folks from the Northern Neck, from all the different counties. 3 or 4 of them were from Lotsburg. Most of them come home today. So we're helping the folks out there in Bristol get their roads cleaned up as well. I don't know if I gave you the update on the scour repair project on Bushmill Creek. That contract has been awarded. Remember, there are 4 projects on that contract. The first one they started on was in King and Queen. That one's wrapping up. They're next going to move to the one in Westmoreland. They're about a month ahead of schedule, but the initial schedule said they'd be on Bushmill between March and June of 25. So as that approaches, I'll give you an update. Like I said, they're about a month ahead, but they got one more to do, and it's fairly complicated. So we'll see how that plays out. But you all have any questions for me?
Any questions, board members?
If you have time, can you get someone to check your road pipe at Fruit Plain and Valley Drive? I believe it was the Fruit Plain one that was stopped up.
What was the cross street? Fruit Plain and what?
Fruit Plain Road, the bottom, and it's another one over on Valley Drive.
And Valley.
That floods. But it was a little concerning. I had a citizen call me, and some of the citizens actually been trying to unplug a pipe, and they kind of told me they need to leave that alone if that water rushing through there. You get somebody to check on it, make sure that that pipe is not stopped up.
Okay. I know we've had some trouble with beavers down there
Both of those
before.
bottoms.
We'll check on both of them.
But I believe it was Fruit Plain that they called me about. And your staff that's going into Southwest Virginia, make sure you thank them.
I will. Thank you.
Taking time away from their family and all of that, going into that for 10 days or more to help those in need. So
Yeah, we got another group going out. The second group just left the last couple of days. We've been phasing it, and the next group goes out on the 16th, and we'll be there till the 25th. But thank you.
All right, Mr. Williams? Tom? You don't have anything there, Mr. Tom?
I tell you what, he's done a good job on some things, so I don't have it. I won't get over this much.
You know, I'm going to ask you about that White Stone Bridge tonight. We save that for next month.
Mr. Fisher?
That's some good things.
Mr. Peel, I know it's not in that county, but it's in Warsaw. What's going on up in Warsaw in the town in there with the, I know you are taking your pavement up and you just put lines down in there for the new traffic pattern. Are you gonna take it all up or just?
Yeah, the whole road, the whole town's being repaved, all over 360, from, back past the Hardys to past the bypass.
Okay.
The reason the road was temporary striped was because we had 4 lanes and we're going to 3. And for constructability, you want your longitudinal joint in the asphalt on your lane lines. So if they were to pave a 4-lane road, they'd pull the paver down the road 4 times. And when they pave a 3-lane road, you pull the paver down the road 3 times. So it's to manage traffic and get the longitudinal joints in the right spot So it's kind of for constructability issues. But that's what's,
I was
that's
just
what's
wondering,
happening.
just wondering what was going on.
Yeah, we get that question a lot because a lot of times you come in with a milled surface and then, well, I mean, I think they stripe the road about 4 times every time they pave. The thermoplastic it's a product that is reflective, and that's what the lines are made out of on most of the roads. But asphalt doesn't stick to it. So a lot of times we come down, we'll mill off the thermoplastic line, and then the paver's not ready to come. So we have to temporary stripe in a paint, and then they come back and, go over top of that, and then they come back with temporary paint, and then they come back with the thermoplastic. So it's a lot of mobilizations and a lot goes on. But we get the questions a lot because people are like, we just painted this and now you're milling it up, or you just milled it and now you're painting it, but there's a method to the madness.
All right, you just thank everybody down there for all the work they've done all around.
All right, I will.
The grass is starting to look very nice.
Yeah, a couple more weeks and we'll be completely done with grass for the year.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Y'all take care.
All right, next item would be county administrator's report. Mr. Tadlock?
Right. Yes, sir. First item I have is the September 24 permits report. We had 12 new structures. Total construction costs for the month is $7.7 million. Total construction cost for the year is $51.5 million. It's approximately $6.8 million above this time last year. I have several items for supplemental appropriations. The first item is $385 for the ball games worked by the deputies to 3102-1006.
All right, what's your pleasure, of the board?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, got a motion second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next item is regarding the opioid monies, for the actual opioid and the interest. Total amount is $5,494.96 to 475102-3200.
All right, what's your pleasure, of the board? Motion to approve, have a second?
Second.
All right, got a motion second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Next item is dealing with the costs associated with the elevator in the old courthouse. The board had approved this back in April of this year, but it spanned fiscal years, and this is the last payment that repair has been completed. It's going to 4302-3004 in the amount of $29,647.50.
Motion to approve.
All right, motion to approve, have a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next item is the fiscal year 25 Virginia Department of Fire Programs grant funds in the amount of $60,300, and that's going to line item 3202-5605, and that has been distributed to the 2 fire departments.
Move to approve.
All right, got a motion second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the next several items we have, when we recently spoke with the auditors in trying to close out fiscal year 24 books, they requested several items that the board took action on last month to rescind and retroactively place in fiscal year 24 due to the timing of the expense and not the timing of the receipt of those monies. So the first one we have is a motion to rescind the motion made on September 12th, 2024 to carry over the negative line items to fiscal year 25 related to the Sheriff's Office for the security athletic events, FBI reimbursement, and the ARPA law enforcement grant reimbursement in the amount of negative $132,360.90.
Motion to approve.
All right, got a motion to approve. Got a second?
Second.
Yeah, all right, got a motion second. Got any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, the next one is the motion to rescind the motion made on September 12th, 2024 to carry over the negative line items to fiscal year 25 related to the ARPA tourism grant in the amount of negative $28,786.23.
Got a motion to have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Motion to rescind the motion made on September 12th, 2024 for a supplemental appropriation to fiscal year 25 in the amount of $131,621.01 for the ARPA law enforcement grant reimbursement and retroactively approve the supplemental appropriation to fiscal year 24. So this is taking those monies, removing it from fiscal year 25 and putting it back to fiscal year 24 to offset that negative number.
All right, motion and a second. Any other discussion? Not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion to rescind the motion made on September 12th, 2024 for a supplemental appropriation to fiscal year 25 in the amount of $423.96 for the FBI payroll reimbursement and retroactively approve the supplemental appropriation to fiscal year 24.
I move to approve.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, and the last one is a motion to rescind the motion made on September 12th, 2024 for our supplemental appropriation to fiscal year 25 in the amount of $420 for the extra security at graduation reimbursement and retroactively approve the supplemental appropriation to fiscal year 24.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, next item I have is and this is regarding the regional emergency radio system change order. The board had taken action in March of this year on change order 1, and then on change order 2 and 3, the board discussed that at our July 11th meeting. And at that time, the board took action on the amount of $83,261.78. And what that amount included was an offset from the grant that the sheriff's office had obtained. And in looking at the change order and the change order that we received from L3 Harris, they have the full amount. They did not include that grant. You won't see that difference until the back end of the project. So when we received the change order in the amount of $254,909.97, wanted to bring that back to the board. So because of the specific action that the board took, we could not sign that change order contract because of the amount. So I wanted to get that clarified, that we do need the board to rescind the original motion in July and then make another motion to move forward with change orders 1, 2, and 3 in the amount of $254,909.97. It does not change anything related to the change orders. There may be a little bit of savings, I think, on one piece of the equipment that they are looking at purchasing somewhere else. But the overall part of it is none of the aspects of the change orders is changing.
So this just gets the numbers where they need to be.
My concern was that with just having the $83,000 approved by the board, and that if I signed the change order in the amount of $200 and some thousand, it would be flagged by the auditors.
You want it to match?
I want those to match, yes, sir.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion?
Actually, if we can get the motion to rescind the original motion in July for that $83,261.78 first, and then
Y'all withdraw your motion first.
Withdraw.
All right. Now, a motion to rescind the original, what was it, 84,000 some?
$83,261.78.
Motion to rescind.
All right. Motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then if we could get a motion to approve authorizing me to sign the change order in the amount of $254,909.97, which includes the change orders 1, 2, and 3.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right. Next item we have is, you received a memo from Bob Bullard, the Executive Director for Economic Development Commission. There was a pricing difference in the Billboards In amount. It was a $299 increase to that amount. The board had approved, I think, $12,697, and the total invoice on that was $12,996. And the pricing increase was due to the cost of custom artwork and a blog post related to that advertising. So what I would ask the board to do is have a motion to approve the additional $299 for a total contract of $12,996 with Billboards In.
Motion to approve the additional monies.
All right, have a second?
Second.
I got a motion, second. Any other discussion?
And Luttrell, this was covered under the ARPA funds anyhow, correct?
This was through the ARPA tourism funds, and we've requested reimbursement for those funds. We have not received those funds back
So
yet, but
basically a grant.
correct.
Okay.
But we have not received those funds back.
Okay.
So.
All right, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All right. Mr. Tadlock, what else you have, sir?
Next two items, I'm going to turn over to Mr. McKenzie. It's an update on Hampton Hall and an update on the cargo container storage units that the board had sent to the Planning Commission.
All right, Mr. McKenzie, anytime you want.
Okay, at the September 19th Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission discussed Hampton Hall Landing and how to develop it into a water access site. I had researched the VDOT grant program that will help counties build roads into parks, and it seems as if that site would qualify. The amenity would, of course, be the water. And they'll pay for the entrance and the access road and engineering and all of it, the way I understand it, if we qualify. And in order to facilitate that VDOT application, the Planning Commission, well, I visited the site about a month ago, and it's pretty much grown up. There's trees in the roadbed, in addition to vines and all kind of sticker bushes and brush and things of that nature. And in order for VDOT and the engineers and the surveyors to look at the road and see what needs to be done to create a road into the Hampton Hall Landing, the Planning Commission suggested that the board hire a land clearing contractor to remove the brush and trees for the road that goes into there, so that surveyors and VDOT personnel and or DCR staff can access the site and see what type of entrance and what type of access we're going to have for the whole site. Philip and I went down last Tuesday, and I took a bunch of pictures. I believe Mr. Tadlock gave you some pictures in board docs. And when we went down there, we discovered there's also a dump, and there's some refrigerators and trash down there that needs to be cleaned up, in addition to the brush and trees that need to be cleaned up. We did get one quote for cleaning up and clearing the brush, getting the trash up and all that. It was around $2,183, I believe. The contractor also said he would take any trees that are leaning over the road and cut them off as well. So the Planning Commission made a motion, as I said, to ask you all if you all considered hiring a land clearing contractor to clean the road. There is funding in the Northern Neck Chesapeake Bay Public Access Authority, but there may be some other funds that Mr. Tadlock may know about that we could use for that. But it's kind of the first step. We haven't really talked about what we're going to put on the water. We just want to get the VDOT entrance in and the road access there, and then we can determine whether we want a fishing pier, whether we want a kayak launch, or what type of water access. We do think we'd like to have a couple of picnic tables there, and it's got a pretty nice water view there. And you know, sitting there looking at the water is water recreation. So we'd appreciate if y'all would consider that.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
I got a question.
right.
Are we required to get more than one quote to clear that? Or-
With that amount, you can certainly get more estimates, but it was less than $5,000. So under the small purchase policy, we would be okay.
Sounds relatively cheap.
Yeah, it
I was thinking the
does.
same thing.
I think it needs to be done. It needs to be cleaned up.
If we do go that route, we need to do something to block it off right away. If you don't, you'll get more refrigerators and stoves and everything else down there.
You're right.
Yeah, some kind of a gate or a chain across
Yeah.
the guardrails or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yep, that would be the thing to do. All right,
And a no trespassing sign until we get it built.
all right. What's the pleasure of the board then, or is there any other discussion?
Make a motion, we move forward with that project and have it, have it cleared.
Second.
All right, I got a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
We're going to go ahead and have Mr. Tadlock check and see what funds are available that we may not have to take it right to treasurer.
Yes. All right, anything else?
I think that'll open the door for some grant funding to be able to do something with that piece of property that will benefit the county and the citizens.
They're not making any more of it.
And I would like to mention that that project is in the Virginia Outdoors Plan, which is Department of Conservation Recreation's plan for future access and recreational amenities in the Northern Neck region. So that gives us also a little pull because it's been designated as a future project, so it's documented.
I think it's fantastic news that you can get somebody to pay for putting that road in now. And
Yes.
And that's been the holdup for us for what, 10 years?
Yeah.
Trying to
well-
do something with that property. It was so expensive to do that. Somebody, that leaves money for other things to be built down there. But that's why it's been laying the way it is for all these years. It was just too expensive to put that road in.
I would like to note that the parking areas are not, VDOT won't build those, they'll just build the road. So we will have to build the 5-space parking area or however big a parking area you want and a handicap one closer to the water. That would be an expense we would have to take because all they're going to do is build a road in. And they're supposed to make it to VDOT standards, so it should be pretty nice.
That turnoff lane, what's the other name for it? Not the turnoff lane, but they call it
Deceleration.
deceleration lane. That was so expensive.
Well, I think once we get it cleared, I think you're going to be able to get your grant money. And
You
that's
got to
gonna-
see what you got.
You got to see what you got,
Right.
and before anybody's going to invest in it, and I think we're off to a good start. I think it is good news.
All right, anything else, gentlemen? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against? All right. Next one.
The Planning Commission sent a memo to the board, again, at the September 19th meeting. We discussed conditions related to the conditional use permits in A1 agriculture for cargo containers and use for storage in order to blend in with the landscape. The Planning Commission voted and approved a suggestion that a storage container that is visible from the road or a neighbor's property must be painted to blend in with existing scenery and/or establish natural vegetative screening to hide such a unit so it is significantly less visible. We discussed colors, and, in some places, green would be a good color, but if it's wooded or trees, maybe brown is a color, so we didn't actually put a color in this condition. And depending on the site, paint may work, but in other sites, you may need a vegetative screening. So you can choose whichever condition you want regarding that if you thought that it's necessary to put vegetative screening to hide that. You have any questions about that?
Any questions?
Couldn't that be left up to the zoning officer?
Well, it would be a condition of the conditional use permit. So I would assume that Mr. Marston would probably come up with that as one of the conditions of any application. And depending on how visible and how many they were, whether it would be just paint is good enough or whether we'd need a vegetative screen in front of it. each case is different and, needs some flexibility.
All right, any other questions, gentlemen? Not, what's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion that we go ahead with the planning commission on their thoughts. And I think it would be more universal overall throughout the county if, in fact, the building zoning officer had to say on what would be done as far as screening or painting.
Second.
All right, got a motion, a second. Now, any other discussion on it? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right.
Next item we have is regarding the convenience center tag discussion that we started last month. The board had asked to reach out to several of the localities to look into the cost effectiveness of doing the tag program. And some of the information that I did receive back, that one of the localities has a tire collection program. They did see a savings there. They thought that the program was beneficial. The other locality indicated that in order to get a hang tag from the county to dump trash, that the taxes had to be up to date, real estate and personal property taxes. So they did see some benefits by having that in place. They did see an uptick in collection rate for that. So I don't know if there's any additional information the board wishes me to look into, what the pleasure of the board is.
All right, anything else the board would like to have on this?
Were we talking about, you talking about a hang tag, the one that goes on the mirror?
We had talked about either the hang tags or doing a sticker.
Yeah.
And some of them had talked about, they had looked at maybe changing from the hang tag to go into a sticker,
Yeah.
rather than having the hang tags.
And would each citizen that met the criteria, paying the taxes and so forth, get one for each vehicle that they own, registered in the county?
The way that some of them have done it, they issue two initially, and then if more are needed, then they would need to come to the locality to get the additional sticker or hang tag.
I think they ought to be issued one for whatever number of vehicles you got. For most people's family, this is going to be two probably, but
At least two vehicles, some have
some
three.
have more. I got 3 or 4 myself.
Yeah.
But how is the
Whatever
how's
you
the
got
county
registered
gonna-
through the state, that's what you should be able to get.
How's the county going to determine how many vehicles everybody? has
Because you
got?
pay taxes on it.
You pay tax on every vehicle, that's
Yep.
certainly correct, and that's the easy way of tracking it.
Yep.
So for folks that have Airbnbs, what are we pretty much saying that their renters are going to be responsible for their trash somewhere else, or that the owners of the Airbnb need to have the type of dumpster that the folks tend to weekly?
Yeah. What I found out is some A and B, some of them require the people renting to take their own trash with them. Some of them, the trash is taken up by the owners. And the owners, a lot of them have trash pickup, where the truck comes in and picks up the trash. I think that would be the choice. We'd have to look into that a little bit and see what would be better, but.
Well, if the owner requires the renter to remove the trash, they won't have a sticker to drop it off at
That's
the
right.
facility.
That's right.
So if the owner has a trash can there, they can, whoever comes in to do the cleanup and all, could haul that trash off, or the owner could haul it off.
What about folks that are paying tax on commercial vehicles? Are they going to be given a tag or a hanging tag or a sticker, I'm sorry, for each of those vehicles as well?
I would think so if it's
Should.
something they can haul trash and they're taxpaying
They're
citizens.
taxpayer.
They should be allowed to,
Just asking.
you know. If old man Jones has got his mule in his wagon, if he hauls trash, he ought to get one.
have a discussion, gentlemen? I don't know what your pleasure is on this, or how you want to set it up.
Will there be any additional charge by Waste Management for the person who's working there to check these tags?
I'm not aware of any.
Even if he just spot
additional.
checks?
That's probably all they're going to do is just spot check. They're
time.
just going to glance around.
Time to time.
If they're at the compactor at the time. If they're not, you're just going to dump.
Because sometimes you got 4, 5, 6 vehicles at a time.
Yep.
No, if you go into Richmond County and you don't have that tag hanging from your mirror or display, you don't dump.
The Waste Management man there refuses you entry. That's the way it should be. We're paying a lot of tonnage, and it's growing, and taxpayers are paying more and more money for it each year.
All right. So what's the pleasure here? Does it,
I think we probably ought to get some more information on the, how rental
Rainy.
property is going to get rid of their trash.
Yeah. I think it's probably going to come down to the people who own the rental properties are going to need to remove the trash themselves or to have a dumpster or something there where a company comes in and takes it. That's probably what it's going to end up coming down to.
I don't know what the price of an average dumpster is to, something, for a company to come in and dump it.
Yeah, I think mine is like, nearly $50-some a month.
Okay.
And I got one question, and I may have an answer to it, but I don't know. If you have someone that's got a caregiver,
Excuse me, what?
if you have someone that's homebound and they got a caregiver or they don't drive, and they have someone come and takes care of them, I would imagine that if that individual doesn't have a vehicle, they're going to need a tag for someone to bring their trash to have it dumped as well. So we need to take that in consideration.
Yeah, that's going to have to be done on a one-on-one basis with the county administrator's office.
Well, I think, and we were just discussing it, I think, let's get some additional information as far as cost and things, but it may be something that we need to look at a policy and bring that back to the board, because I think you're looking at multiple things that may be impacted by whether an individual gets a tag or not. So let's take a look. We've got the information I think we need at this point. Is you're still looking to move forward. Let's dig into this a little bit
Well,
more.
we kind of broadened the project a little bit, because if you're going to use it as a tax collection tool, for lack of a better term, then you better have your ducks in a row on that.
Well, and that's what we want clarified from the board too, if that's how the board wants to proceed with that, or, but I think we can come up with some policy and look through that and go from there.
Yeah.
Maybe give them some grace time. Just don't jump right on them, so to speak.
All right. Let's let Mr. Tadlock and staff come up with something.
Next item is the board had asked to place on the agenda discussion about the Christmas tree lighting for this year.
All right. Mr. Brown, you want to take it?
Last couple of years, we've done the tree lighting ceremony, and it's been well attended. It's just another event that the people look forward to. The concern that I got, and I've talked with Morgan, is that every year, the last 2 years, we've purchased lights to put on a big tree. And we have to get the fire departments to hang them. And when you try to take them down, they break. So it's kind of like we're throwing money at this tree, and as far as lights. We want to come up with a different idea this year on a tree. Still have a lighting ceremony, but have a different tree. And I didn't know if any of the board members had any other suggestion, or Morgan may have a suggestion on what we can do, other than using that large tree out in front of the courthouse so that we keep putting lights on every year. And I think we need to still have the event, but let's spend a little more wisely on how we do the lighting and spend the money.
Let's see what did you have an idea, Morgan?
I wouldn't put you on the spot.
Don't mean to put you on the spot, but I know you thought about it before.
I feel like that tree's been there for a long time, so I hate to do anything different. I don't know if trimming it next year would be an option. I like the idea of planting a new one. And then that would be. But no, I don't know what other options. I'm open, but I will also give my opinion on whether it's feasible as well.
I didn't know if we could put a larger, and I hate using an artificial tree, but a large artificial tree up on the platform of the old courthouse and light it from there this year, other than using that large tree until we can make some other arrangements.
I like that idea, but the issue is window, up the courthouse wall, across sidewalks.
We don't have any power outlets outside in that area, so any lights that, there is one outlet over by the tree that she has used for the garland around the post and rails. But there's nothing physically on the courthouse, and so any lighting that we have to do there, we have to run from the upstairs.
I don't know if it's possible to run a cord up the courthouse through the upstairs. I thought about that because I like the idea of putting one, or in the corner, like on Luttrell's corner where his office is. I don't know what the weather would do to that tree.
Yeah.
Well, how about if we just think about it and we'll bring it back up. We'll have a discussion on it next month and see if we can come up with an idea.
Should be able to come up with something like that.
Yeah, I just hate to keep putting lights on that bigger tree and then at the end of the holiday and we go to take them down, they're not worth putting back up again. Or you have to leave them on there because that tree right now has got multiple strands of lights on it that you cannot get off of it. The tree has grown up through them and we don't need to keep doing that.
No. All right, well, let's all think about it, and then we'll come up with some
We
suggestions.
still plan to invite the choirs from each school.
Absolutely. Working on that.
Okay.
Get through Halloween first.
All right? If that's all?
It's all.
All right.
All right, just want to update everybody on the Northumberland County's Fall 2024 Household Hazardous and Electronic Waste Collection Event. It's Saturday, October 26th, from 9 to 2, and that's at the middle school bus parking lot. The board has
Was that
received...
date again, Luttrell? I'm sorry.
Sure. It's October 26th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's a Saturday.
Have you started putting the information in the paper and on the radio?
We do that in conjunction with Soil and Water, so they've helped with advertising that.
This is not tires this time, it's just household chemicals?
No, it's just household, they weren't doing tires this time.
Okay.
No, it's just the household hazards and electronic waste.
Okay.
Next item, the board has received a request to consider rifle hunting to be considered in Northumberland County. With that request was some draft language from other localities on how they handle rifle hunting. So I didn't know how the board wished to proceed with that request.
All right. Has the board had a chance to review all this, or does the board need more time?
I think we need more time on that.
All right.
Right.
Why don't we just review it, and you have any questions for Mr. Tadlock now, or you can get them to him, and then we can look back at this at next month's meeting. Is that all right with you, Mr. Tadlock?
That's fine. Yes, sir.
All right, and
Did one of our neighboring counties just approve this type of ordinance?
we got one here from Essex that was done in '24. Now, I don't know if any other county has done it. Ms. Tadlock, you have any information on that?
I have not researched it, so I can look into that further.
Fairly certain that Richmond County just approved something
Essex may
almost
have,
identical to this.
they may have updated theirs, but they allowed hunting with rifles for a few years now.
What other counties? Is that it?
That's the only one I know of right now is Essex.
Can Mr. Allen speak to that?
Yes, he can.
You mind?
I'm happy to speak on it. Sorry. I'm not used to speaking. I usually just sit over here and keep everybody safe. A lot of counties have gone to rifle hunting, to include the Middle Peninsula, some on the Northern Neck, of course, out in the mountains. And basically what they've done is you have to be elevated off the ground. You cannot have a rifle during any type of sanctioned dog hunt. It's merely still hunting. You can't even load the rifle until you get to your stand. So you leave your truck unloaded, you get to the stand, up the stand, load the rifle. Before you come down, you unload, and then go back to your vehicle. And what I'll say is we have rifles being fired in this county every day. People target practice with rifles. You can go in your backyard and shoot a rifle. The chances of you shooting a rifle during deer season is a lot slimmer than me target practicing, because there's no guarantee you're going to see the game. So as far as the safety, it's a lot more safer to hunt with a rifle. And then there have been several people that have come to me that have seen that other counties pass the ordinance, that were interested in passing this ordinance. So that's why I'm spearheading it.
There's a minimum elevation.
Y'all can set that. I believe the one I saw it's either 8 or 10 feet, Mr. Williams. But you can set that anywhere you want.
I think what I've read up on some of it was also at the discretion of the landowner. That if you're hunting someone else's property, you gotta have permission from that landowner to hunt with a rifle on their property.
In addition to the county's approval?
I haven't seen that, Mr. Brand, so I guess you could add that as well. I think the sky's the limit on whatever ordinance y'all want to pass.
Well, one thing about it, if you elevate it, it's coming down.
It's coming down,
Instead of being on ground level, which put it horizontal.
which people are doing that every day,
Yeah.
target practicing. So that's why, but the most important part of the ordinance is you cannot use a rifle during a sanctioned dog hunt, whether you're elevated or not elevated.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Okay.
It's merely for still hunting. That's it.
Same rules. You can't have a felon or anything like that, right?
All right, any other comments from the board?
Thank y'all.
All right. Stadler, I think we can do a little more research on this. We can come up with something probably for next month.
I can. Yes, sir.
And board members, come up with any questions you have, anything that you find, get that to Mr. Tadlock.
I was asked, we got a group of folks that coyote hunt, fox hunt at nighttime, which is legal. And we need to look at the way the law is written. It says 22 caliber, nothing any larger than that. But they use larger caliber rifles to coyote hunt and fox hunt. And the concern was no game warden has bothered them yet. But what happens if they get checked and the game warden wants to make an issue of them using a larger caliber rifle? And the code states nothing larger than a 22 caliber. And what they're doing is legal. But the caliber of the gun is not, if that makes any sense.
That does make sense. We're going to have to consider that also. You use a little bit more for deer when you're hunting than a 22. A lot of guys using black powder.
That's a 50 caliber.
Yeah, that's 50 caliber right there.
And one thing to think about too is your newer model black powder rifles will shoot just as far as some rifles, regular rifles.
Yeah.
Still need to be elevated, should be elevated.
Well, a 22 will carry a little ways too.
Per mile, that's clean.
Yeah, it's just a
Dangerous for a
mile.
mile, dangerous for a mile.
That's right.
So good shotgun slugs, they go a long ways.
Yes, they do. But one thing about hunting in a stand, you are shooting down.
Yeah.
That's the one advantage you have there. Everything else, you're on horizontal plane shooting. Well, let's do some thinking about this and see if we can come up with something. All right? Mike, you have anything else?
Next item I have is, we've gone through packages 1, 2, and currently package 3 is out for bid, and that is due in October, on October 30th. And this is related to the sewer upgrades at the high school, middle high school. And what we are looking for, Mr. Rob Mangrum was working on package 4, but he did have a locality that was hit by hurricane, or a client that was hit by Hurricane Helene. And so he's been working with that individual to try and get them up and running. So he wasn't able to finalize package 4 for us. But in order to keep this moving, because we are looking at using ARPA funds, and we do have a time limit on obligating those funds and expending those funds, we're just looking for authorization from the board to move forward in advertising package 4, if we could get that.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
What is this for now? What?
And package 4 is dealing with the electrical and programming components of the upgraded mass drain field that we're trying to do for the school system.
I think we need to go ahead and move forward with it.
Right.
Second.
All right. All right, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right.
And again, that's just to advertise it. It's not to do anything specific with it. For the board's information, we do have the roof bid that's due on October 15th and the abandoned derelict vessel bid that's due on October 16th. And want to check with the board if you all want to meet the following week, the week of October 21st. And if you want to talk about that towards the end of the meeting, since time's getting short on us here.
We'll talk about this after our public hearings and everything, because it's 7 o'clock now.
It's fine.
Sure.
All right, let's just put that off till last.
What time?
We're going to talk about this after our public hearings, Mr. Long. After our public meetings
Okay.
tonight.
All right.
You have anything else, Mr.
The
Tedlock?
last item I have, I just want to give you an update on the reassessment. The Commissioner of Revenue has been sending transfers each month to Pearson's Appraisal Service, and they are matching the sales with the property cards. And as of today, they have 2,855 parcels that have been reviewed in the field. And they are looking to start data entry possibly mid of next year. So they are working on the reassessment.
What's the total number of parcels?
19,000.
19,000.
I can get you the exact figure.
That's close enough.
Yeah, they still have quite a ways to go.
Yes, I'm looking at it.
Yeah, quite a ways to go. All right,
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
any committee reports? All right. Board of Supervisors items, approval of check register. Hope y'all had a chance to review the check register.
Yeah, move that we approve.
All right, got a motion to approve it. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Board comments? Mr. Williams?
Yeah, just one item. Callio Moose Lodge and Totoski Baptist Church have partnered together to help the folks out in Southwest Virginia, specifically in Galax and Damascus counties. And a member of that church by the name of Norris Harper has already made a couple of trips out there in his own box truck. He's a farmer. And he's either on his way back from his third trip now, or he is back. And Tina Moss, who is heavily involved in the Moose Lodge, has asked me to make this statement tonight about collecting some items for his next trip. And he doesn't know how many more trips he's going to make, but he'll continue to make them as long as as they feel it's necessary. And items that they're looking for specifically are water, obviously, fruit cups, any canned goods, diapers, formula, baby formula, Benadryl, Tylenol, any types of wipes, hygienic wipes, any canned foods. They're not asking for anything that needs to be cooked, and they'd rather not have any cash donations. Packaged cookies. These are folks out there that had very little to start with, and they've got less than that right now, and they're desperate for help. And Tina Moss has told me that I could share her phone number here tonight. If you're looking to reach out to her to donate, her number is 804-450-2661.
Say that again.
804-450-2661. And she's willing to either meet you at her place of business, her residence, or she can schedule you to meet someone at the Moose Lodge to drop off.
Okay. All right. Let's pass this around everywhere here so we can get some donations coming up at.
Definitely. Try to help them out.
Yeah, those people do need a lot of help out there.
And they've been, I wouldn't say neglected is the right word, but they haven't been in the public eye as much as parts of Tennessee and North Carolina have. But there are people out there that are in just as bad a shape as people from those other states.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. You have anything else?
That's it.
Mr. Long?
Yes, the hiring, how are we doing on that ordinance as far as hiring people? The hiring.
As far as the personnel policy,
Yes.
we've completed that and we've implemented that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How about the old school board office?
That was one of the things that when we have the next meeting date to discuss the bids, we were going to ask the board if you wanted to discuss that as well, the properties, continue the discussion about the properties.
Okay, how about the president school board? I went in there, I noticed ceiling, it's mold in there. When are we planning to do something about that?
We are
The ceiling is in bad shape.
Yes, sir. We are currently getting estimates for that. We've had somebody look at that, and we are getting estimates for that.
Estimates to do when?
The remediation. We don't have a time frame
Don't have
on
time
that.
frame on it.
We're working through the contractor that did the testing for that.
When you think you can begin work? Do you have an idea?
We haven't received any estimates yet. We've had somebody look at it, but we're waiting on that estimate to come back in to us.
And I believe we need to set up something, some kind of date to collect tires. There's a lot of tires around the county. I gave you a place not too long. This guy had 2 rows of tires. So we need, don't we have somebody checking on that? I do.
On tires?
Yeah.
I know the Anti-Litter Committee did a program last year for a tire collection. I'm not sure, Mr. McKenzie, if that's something that they're still discussing, but.
The Anti-Litter Committee had recommended that the grant, which is a new grant we're getting from DEQ, from the non-competitive grant, This is monies that we applied for, that we requested permission to apply for, that was used for the Northern Neck Planning District Commission for their Asana Highway. So they were using that money from DEQ, and we were hoping that when the county receives the grant for that non-competitive grant, there's two pots of money. There's a competitive grant, which the litter committee is doing the cargo nets with, and then there's this non-competitive grant, which is money that was being used by the Planning District Commission, and now we have access to it. We were hoping to do a annual event using that money, and do it not in conjunction with the hazardous waste, but another day and use the same site. And just an annual amnesty day. Now, there's an option to put it at one of the convenience centers, but that would require staffing and logistics, and Waste Management's not going to do that because that's not what they do. So, but we were going to start off with a one-day yearly event for tire recycling.
Good.
Long, you have anything else?
That's it for now.
Brian?
We were concerned last year when we changed the date on the taxes when they would due, and got to talk with Pam King, our treasurer, this afternoon briefly. And as of today, since they mailed the taxes out, she's collected $6.6 million. And she's gotten a lot of good feedback from the citizens that they appreciate the taxes date being moved, because it felt like they had taxes and Christmas and what have you. So she feels that it's been very successful in moving that date, and that the collections is looking good. And to add on to what Mr. Williams was talking about, I've been talking with emergency manager at Galax. And Callio Fire Department is waiting to hear back from VDM and the extension agent from Galax. We're planning on, if it works out right, to make a run out there. We're going to collect hay and cattle feed. A lot of the farmers out in that area lost all of their winter hay. Every bit of it got washed away. A lot of the folks that have horses lost the pastures, lost the fence. So they've asked, we were going to take food and clothes and all that, and they asked if we could kind of focus more on animal feed and hay. So Mr. Lake Coward's been generous enough to donate a truck and a trailer. We're making some arrangements to get some hay donated, and once we hear back from the folks in Galax, when they will accept it and how much they can handle, we're going to ask for some donations and purchase some hay for the ones that don't want to donate hay, and hopefully we can take a tractor trailer load of hay out there and some feed. So that's one more project that's going on here in the community that we're trying to help those folks. And not only did, they lost animals too. I mean, it was one guy down in Tennessee had, I think it was 500 head of cattle. He's only found like 120 some. So we need to help these people as much as we can.
The great thing about these small groups delivering out there is you're taking it directly to the folks that need it.
Absolutely.
There's not another set of hands that it has to go through. When Mr. Harper pulls up out there to the site, this stuff is coming off his truck and going right into the hands of the people that need it.
The VDM has a distribution center for donations, and it goes there and it's distributed to these people and they get what they need. And you're right, it's good that they get it, and it goes directly to them.
Yep, that's the main thing. It
That's
needs
the
to go
main thing,
directly
yes.
to them. All right,
That's all I got.
all right. Mr. Fisher?
Where we stand with the sale of Northumberland County land that we were talking about, mainly down at Indian Creek?
We have that for discussion in closed meeting.
What was that?
That's all.
Well, I really don't have anything because it's already been covered. So That was some of the items I wanted to talk about, but that's all right. It's all covered. That's the main thing. All right. Gentlemen, we'll move on. The next item, unless y'all want a 5-minute break,
Yeah,
10-minute break. 10-minute break?
5-minute break.
5 minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 5-minute recess. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll call this meeting back to order here. Thank y'all for being patient with us. The next item would be the public comment period. Only have one person signed up, and that's Karen Peaker. Come on up, man.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am mightily confused about why this body is even looking at the playground replacement at this point. So it's very confusing for me to try to understand the numbers. The school got a $1.2 million grant. The budget that was submitted on February 29th for the 24, 25 or 23, 24 school year included a letter that was dated June 22nd, where the school board prioritized replacement of the playground as their number 2 priority for use of that $1.2 million grant. The first one, I think, was flooring. So the school board prioritized replacement of that playground as number 2. I have not found any notes or votes since that February 29th document that identifies the track, the carpeting, or the painting as being voted by the school board as a higher priority. Now, maybe I'm not looking in the right place, or maybe I missed something. So even if you say that there was a change and the school board did reprioritize, based on the information that was shared tonight, if you have a $1.2 million grant, $400,000 for floor replacement, $400,000 or $500,000 for a track, you still have money left over. At the time that letter was submitted, the bid that they anticipated for the playground was $300,000. That would have funded it. Okay, toss in the boilers. The boilers had to be done for $183,000. You still have a little extra money left. Where did the money go? Why were the priorities changed? If school safety, if we've got kids out there that are playing on unsafe equipment, why was painting and the track prioritized over the playground, and in what vote, in what meeting did that occur? The cost for the playground before was $300,000. I get things have gone up, it's $500,000 now. I'm also confused as why the Board of Supervisors is looking at this. If there are 3 bids on the table, you're not the source selection authority for contracts for the school. The school board should be looking at those contracts first, asking questions, asking if they cover the needs that they cover. And thank you, Mr. Brand, for doing the research. I didn't realize that this was a priority since 2014. I didn't look back that far. So the school board is not here to answer those questions. The superintendent isn't here to answer the questions. And last month, Letcher, I'll help you out, it's $2 million coming back to the county. Ms. Booth identified that there was $1.6 million that had already been returned in terms of reimbursements, and another $450,000 that was expected by November 4th. That's $2 million of my money that's coming back to the county. Is the playground the number 1 priority? What about the radios? What about building up our reserves so that we don't have to raise taxes when the assessment comes? I'm confused about the process here as point 1, because the school board, and I attend those meetings, has never talked in the past 4 months about a supplemental appropriation. Y'all put in a policy where every division has to come in if they want supplemental approps. So I'm chair of the EDC, we've got a reimbursement coming in for $12,000. Do I have authority to spend that money again? No, I would have to follow the process, and I would have to have justification. So you've got no vote by the school board to come for a supplemental appropriation, no action by the school board on current bids. Why on earth are you guys discussing bids when they're the source selection authority for the school? And unanswered questions about when the school board abdicated their vote to make replacement of the playground not number 2, but not even on the list of 5 things. It's in the document, February 29th document that was submitted to you all. It's on page, I think 39 or 50. I'm not 100% sure what page it is. So I'm awful confused about the process. I'm awful confused about why the school board doesn't have to follow the county policies on the supplemental appropriation. And why is that the number one priority for the county? I agree, kids are important, right? Close that thing down. Get that equipment out of there. If we've got 50 or 100 kids, they shouldn't be playing on that kind of stuff. We got 11,000 people in this county. More than that. Sorry about that. 12,000, I should know. So, right? So if we've got more than 11,000 people in this county, are we going to spend all this money for 100 when we've got the radio replacements that need to happen and other priorities? So I'm confused about the process. I appreciate that y'all are taking your deliberative time and looking at this, because I think there's really some questions that we need to ask. And for goodness sakes, we don't even have any type of school board action. I don't know how this came to y'all without that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I don't have anyone else on the sign-up sheet. Would anyone else like to speak tonight? Anyone like to speak? All right. Would anyone in the virtual world like to speak on a public comment period? Have anybody online? Anyone in the virtual world like to speak in the public comment period? Nobody? All right. I will close the public hearing now. All right. Mr. Tadlock, we have a closed meeting, but I would suggest we put that off to the end of everything else.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next is we have a tabled item from last month. We've had the public hearing onto it, and that was a request by Pamela M. Plaster, owner, and Little Wycomico Oyster Company, the applicant. Mr. Marston, you have any other comments on that you want to add?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, other than I have not read the suggested conditions if it is approved.
Would you read the suggested conditions?
Yes, sir. The suggested conditions, if approved, are that all required permits and/or licenses shall be obtained from all appropriate regulatory agencies, including but not limited to the Virginia Department of Environmental Quality and the Virginia Department of Health. This expansion shall be for the storage of boats, an additional parking area, storage of aquaculture-related equipment, and a 100-foot by 175-foot or smaller storage building. Any further expansion shall require additional approval from the Board of Supervisors. The northwestern portion of this parcel, consisting of approximately 9 acres, shall not be included in this expansion as shown on the site plan. Lighting shall be limited to one security light, non-reflective and directed downward. Any additional lighting shall be motion detected lighting. This permit shall not include any seasonal migrant housing. The storage building shall be oriented as shown on the revised site plan dated September 11th. This building shall be survey located to address the more restrictive setbacks and shall have an erosion and sediment control plan and a stormwater management plan prepared prior to the issuance of any permits. There shall be no portion of the storage building that will be located any closer than 75 feet from the center of Railway Drive as it is currently constructed and shown on the revised site plan dated September 11th. The northeast corner of the storage building shall be no closer than 900 feet to the center of Wycomico Point Road and 90 feet from the center of Railway Drive as it is currently constructed and shown on the revised site plan dated September 11th. All loading and unloading of commercial vehicles shall be done on the southwestern side of the storage building, and non-compliance of any of these conditions shall result in the conditional use permit to come back before the Board of Supervisors for possible revocation.
All right, thank you. All right, board members have any comments on that?
The lighting, doesn't say where that is supposed to be on the property. Is that to be attached to the storage building?
Yes, sir, in relation to the doors for loading and unloading.
How close could that building be to the road? What could Mr. Cockle or Ms. Plaster have asked for?
By the zoning ordinance, it would be 60 feet to the center of Railway Drive.
If a private or just an individual, a citizen of the county, purchased this property, would those be the same restrictions or controls?
Yes.
And if I were to buy and put a house on it, what would the restrictions be as to the size of the house or the height of the house?
The height of the house could go up to 45 feet if they had additional side yard setbacks. If it was only 10 feet from their side yard setback, it could go to 35 feet. The size of the home would be in relation to the size of the parcel that it's located on and any stormwater control features that could be engineered would allow you to maximize the size of impervious area on a parcel.
All right, no height has been set on this building from Mr. Cockle,
No, sir.
so he could go on up to that limit.
Yes, sir.
Cockrell, do you have any comments that you want to say before the board makes any decision?
I don't, sir. I agree with what the county proposes.
Okay. All right.
Back to your question about the lighting, when you suggested that it needs to specify the lighting needs to be on the building.
Yeah, I think it should. I think that's what is implied, but I think it would be a little clearer if it would have stated as such.
So that's a change in one of the conditions.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, any other discussion? All right, if there's no other discussion, what's the pleasure of the board?
I will make a motion. This motion is made in due consideration of the public health and safety, the general welfare of the community, public necessity, convenience, and in the exercise of good zoning practices, and is pursuant to the body's statutory authority. And my motion is to approve the application with all of the conditions that the county's imposed.
All right, and the change to the
Change to
lighting.
the lighting. To
Okay.
say it is, needs to be attached to the structure, the storage building.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? All right, second. All right, have a motion, second. All right, is there any other discussion on this?
I just want to make a comment that under the suggested condition number 2, that it is fully understood that's what this building is going to be used for. Any changes, it's got to come back before the board.
Agreed.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, if not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against? All right, Mr. Cockrell, your motion passes. All right, our next item is a request by Old Tidewater Properties. Mr. Marston, I'll let you take care of that.
Yes, sir. We have a request by Old Tidewater Properties LLC for a conditional use permit to allow additional apartments within an existing building on property zoned A1 agricultural. Property is shown as tax map parcel 8B-1-140 and is located at 410 Northumberland Highway in Cali.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Marston. See, that would be no, it's not Mr. Wilkins. Is anybody here from Old Tidewater Properties? Yeah, come on up, sir.
How's it going?
How you doing?
Good.
Would you kind of tell us what your intentions are?
Yeah, basically the building at 410 Northumberland Highway, it's the old fishing fund building. There's 4 apartments upstairs and it's been kind of commercial space and storage. On the first floor, I advertised it to kind of keep it as commercial space. We didn't really get much interest and the demand seems to be, turning them into apartments. That seems to be the need of the community, so that's what I'm proposing.
All right, Mr. Tomlin, any board members have any questions for Mr. Tomlin?
I do, sir. What clientele are you going to rent these apartments? Who are you looking for to go in?
I mean, what we're hoping for is workforce housing, teachers, prison guards.
Okay, that's what you're hoping for.
That's what I'm hoping for, yes.
What are you going to require?
Well, I mean, we've got all sorts of fair housing legislation that I can't, pick and choose who lives there. We gotta, if they can legally qualify, then that's, fair housing.
We've got housing in the county that's caused nothing but problems in the past, and I don't want to see any more.
Sure, me either.
And that's why I asked you. You tell me what you'd like to have, but I'd like to know what you're going to allow. You going to have Section 8 in there?
Well, the attorney could tell you better. I can't deny somebody based on that. I mean, yeah.
So you get what you get.
Well, I mean, there's certainly qualifications. You have to qualify for income, for credit scores, verification, employment, all sorts of things to qualify, but we can't say we don't accept a certain type of group of people.
Everybody needs a place to stay. I understand that, but...
Well, I mean, I have had some conversations with Jeanette from Haynesville Correctional Facility. So that's what we're targeting is workforce housing. I mean, it's, what we're thinking is they're going to be kind of studio apartments and 1-bedroom apartments. So they're not going to be super conducive to, families. It's going to be more for working individuals.
You're familiar with the Calio apartments?
The ones on Harry Hogan, the old school. I mean, I'm somewhat familiar with them. I've driven past them a few times. They're not exactly real appealing.
And in the same way with this in the past, the people that's been in these apartments in the past. I'm just concerned about what the clientele is going to be there and what strain is going to put on the county resources.
Right.
What controls the management is going to have to make sure that their people are doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, are you more concerned about the dollar, or are you going to put them out?
So, I mean, I've got a property management company that will manage the tenants and the application process.
They all do. Wycombe Apartments, same way.
Obviously, you've got to go by the law of what's allowed. But yeah, I mean, I certainly am not a slumlord, and I don't plan to, plan to be. I mean, I think you can see from the show of the building, I don't know if you've driven through Calio and looked at it, but it's obviously much more appealing than what was there.
That's all I have, sir.
All right, any other board members have
How many apartments do you now have?
I think the most, so we've got 4 upstairs, and I think it's probably going to be in the 6 to 8 range. I'm thinking probably 8 if we can.
So 4 more downstairs?
8 more downstairs, 4 upstairs.
Okay.
So a total of 12.
Okay. And your apartments upstairs now taken, I mean, they've...
Well, we just renovated all of them, so we just literally just got finished last weekend, so we've got all sorts of people coming in to take a look at them now.
I know you've put a lot of work in the building. It looks really nice.
Oh, thank you.
anything else? Any other board members have any questions now for the public hearing?
One more.
Go ahead.
You had a gentleman, when you and I had talked, you had a gentleman that was living there that you informed me that would probably still live there, but he was gonna be kind of like an overseer.
Greg, yeah, he's still there.
Okay, so he will still be there.
He's still good.
That will pretty much be his role to kind of oversee.
Yeah, so somewhat, kind of unofficially, but yeah, I certainly gonna let him stay and want him to keep eyes and ears on the property for us.
Where is the person going to be that's actually responsible?
Where she live at? She lives in Caroline.
Lives in Carolina?
She manages several properties around here. She's from Callio.
So it's not going to be anybody locally, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Exactly.
It's not gonna be somebody gonna be living there, no.
Or even living close by. If a problem arises, you're going to call the person in Carolina?
I mean, I've got all sorts of, network of contractors and, people that do work for me here locally.
The county has, like I said, everybody needs a place to live. I understand that. And I don't care who you put in there as long as they act right. There's like Wycomic Apartments, I think the police have been there 5 or 6 times in the last 3 weeks. And we've had problems after problems. My shift partner got killed when he and I were going to a call to Callio Apartments.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, I am too. But at any rate, I just don't think the county needs any more problems, and I'd like to see this thing done. I'd like to see you get your apartments, but I'd like to see it managed properly and controlled properly.
That's what I intend to do.
I don't know how you can do that when she's in Carolina. You know, who's going to be there seeing what's
I'm sorry, Caroline County,
Caroline,
not in North Carolina.
not in Carolina? I misunderstood. I apologize. Caroline County. Well, she's not next door anyway, so. I just have some concerns. I'm done.
All right. Any other comments, Mr. Thomas?
No, sir.
All right, we'll open the public hearing, and now I'll give you a chance to speak again.
Okay.
All right, only person I have on the sign-up sheet is Lisa Dietz. Ms. Dietz?
Yes. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you tonight? I am Lisa Dietz, and I come tonight wearing 2 hats. First, as a member of the Dietz family, in which the property borders the old Tide Waters property, and the second as president of the Callio Hometown Association, both of which support Old Tide Waters' proposal to convert the lower level of the old Fish and Fun building into additional apartments. While business development is important, so is workforce housing. There's a great need for such housing to help attract and maintain employees in the area. It helps people establish and build community ties, spend locally, and build a stronger economy in Callio and in our county. Since Old Tidewater bought the property, they have made significant improvements to the building and the surroundings. The building improvements match what we were trying to accomplish with our revitalization project. Several weeks ago, during an open house, I had the opportunity to tour the newly renovated apartments upstairs. They are very, very nice. They have new windows, new flooring, new appliances, new cabinets with granite countertops. They updated the bathrooms, and everything has a fresh coat of paint. After seeing these, I'm sure the new construction apartments downstairs will also be as nice and will help meet the need for workforce housing in our area. We appreciate your consideration for his request, and I thank you for your time.
Ms. Dietz, could I ask you a question, please?
Sure.
Do I take it then, in your opinion, that this is not going to be another Callio Apartments type thing?
No. I'm with you. We have watched lots of things going on over there through the years. And with the upgrades that he has done, I think the clientele will be totally different than what was over there.
I thank you for that.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I don't have anyone else on the sign-up sheet. Would anyone else like to speak on this issue? Anyone else like to speak on this? All right, would anyone in the virtual world tonight like to speak on this issue? Anyone in the virtual world like to speak on this issue? Nobody? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I will close the public hearing. Matters before the board. Mr. Tomlin, do you want to give any closing comments or anything?
No, sir.
All right. The matters before the board.
We had a discussion a few months ago, and we were in the process of trying to get a grant, I believe, for some housing in the county. We've all said that it's needed. And this gentleman is invested in his property, and I met with him probably as soon as he closed on it, when he was going in and was facing what he had to clean up. And I'm telling you, by far, it is really done nice compared to what he stepped into. And he really wanted to have a business there, some businesses there. And, you know, it didn't happen. We talked about apartments. And I told him then, you know, if it's done right, I'll support it. I'll support it now. I feel that he will do his very best to make sure that these apartments are run right. He's invested a lot of money in this building right from the beginning, not knowing whether it's going to be apartments or some type of business. And I think he has put forth a good effort to prove to us on what he's going to try to do there. You know, this is someone that's investing money into our county. We're all for growing businesses. This is another small business, but it's also benefiting people, giving them a place to live. So I'm in support of it.
All right.
And I'll make a motion.
Second. Make the motion.
Yeah.
All right, do I have a second?
Wait a minute, I've got to read. We got to read.
But before we get too far, we have not read the conditions.
Yeah.
And Mr. Morrison, will you be so kind?
Yes, sir. The suggested conditions, if approved, are that all required permits and/or licenses shall be obtained from all appropriate regulatory agencies, including but not limited to Virginia Department of Transportation and Northumberland County Sanitary District. Each proposed apartment shall conform to the Virginia statewide building code. This expansion shall be limited to the footprint of the existing building, and any further expansion shall come back before the Board of Supervisors for approval. There shall be at least 2 parking spaces provided for each apartment. Any proposed signage shall comply with the zoning ordinance. All lighting shall be non-reflective and directed downward to prevent any glare on Route 360 or adjoining properties. And non-compliance of any of these conditions shall result in this permit to come back before the Board of Supervisors for possible revocation.
All right. Now, I'll take the motion.
All right, this motion is made in due consideration of public health and safety and general welfare of the community, public necessity, convenience, and the exercise of good zoning practices pursuant to the body's statutory authority that this conditional use permit for the apartments be approved.
All right, have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. All right, got a motion, second. All right, do I have any other discussion on this motion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against? All right. Mr. Tomlin, your motion passes, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, next is a request by Brandon Wilkins. Mr. Morrison, I'll let you take care of that.
Yes, sir. We have a request by Nan Bahadur Giri, owner, and Brandon Wilkins, applicant, for a conditional use permit to allow light industry, the sale of stone, topsoil, mulch, etc., on property zoned A1 agriculture. Property is shown as tax map parcel 15-1-193A and is located at the corner of Northumberland Highway and Forest Landing Road.
All right. Ms. Geary or Mr. Brandon Wilkins, would you like to make a comment?
No, sir.
Come on up and kind of tell the board what you would like to do with that piece of property.
All right. So, some of y'all may know me. I worked here in the county for the past several years, kind of branched off on my own, starting a full-time landscaping business. Over the past couple of years, I know we've been having a little bit of difficulty getting the supplies that we need in a timely manner. I was having mulch shipped up from North Carolina, so I said, I want to put some in the mix where I can store my equipment and start being able to offer, the citizens of Northumberland and surrounding agencies, mulch, rock, anything that they may want. And that's where we're at.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, sir.
All right, any board members have any questions?
Have one. How will you gain access to the property? Will it be from 360 or from Forest Landing or both?
So, not off 360. There's already an entrance right here on the left as soon as you go up Forest Landing, as well as if you go up to the next cul-de-sac, there's another access point to the property. So nothing will be going in off Route 360.
All right. Any other questions, gentlemen? Mr. Marston, would you read those conditions before we open the public hearing?
Yes, sir. Suggested conditions, if approved, are that all required permits and/or licenses shall be obtained from all appropriate regulatory agencies, including but not limited to the Virginia Department of Transportation. This operation shall be kept clean, neat, and organized. All ingress and egress to this operation shall be off of Forest Landing Road. Only vehicles and/or equipment associated with the operation of this business shall be stored on the property. Any proposed signage shall comply with the zoning ordinance. All storage of dry goods shall not be in a cargo container. All lighting shall be non-reflective and directed downward to prevent any glare on Route 360, Forest Landing Road, or adjoining properties. And non-compliance of any of these conditions shall result in this permit to come back before the Board of Supervisors for possible revocation.
All right. All right, board have any comments?
Did you say there is an access from 360 now, or there is not?
No, sir. There's an access off Forest Landing.
All right, Mr. Wilkins, we'll open the public hearing, and I'll come back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I have no one on the sign-up sheet. Would anyone like to speak on this issue tonight? Anyone like to speak on this? All right, would anyone in the virtual world like to speak on this? Anyone in the virtual world like to speak on this issue? All right, I'll close the public hearing and the matters before the board.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion in due consideration of public health and safety and general welfare of the community and public necessity, convenience, and exercise good zoning practices and pursuant to the body's statutory authority that this conditional use permit be approved.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion? If not, yes.
This young man lives in Richmond County, and this business could have been put in Richmond County, but he chose to start his business here in Northumberland. And we need small businesses here in this county. So we need to support him.
All right. Any other comments from the board? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against? Mr. Wilkins, your motion passes, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Tadlock.
All right, the next public hearing we have tonight is to establish a regulatory no-wake buoy markers in the area of Bailey Prong, a tributary off of Cranes Creek.
All right, is Mr. Douglas R. here tonight? Come on up, sir. Yes, sir. Good to see you, sir.
So I'm here to talk to you about a building restriction on
So from a safety perspective, the prong is very narrow. A lot of the, like on the north side of the prong is Cranes Creek. Under 270 feet. And if you have a boat all that water, you could have situations where you have a very quiet area. Paddleboarding, kayaking, and having jet skis and boats come down that prong at high speeds is a pretty significant safety issue. And, you know, somebody getting hurt is just a matter of time. It is a dead end. Everyone who lives in Cranes Creek there, if you look at the right, has signed a petition supporting this no-wake restriction. I put it in the package. I don't know if you got it through, but I can give you a copy of the petition if you'd like. They've all signed it, and they're all in favor of it. There's really no boat traffic that is, I'll say, transient or moving through there because it is a dead end. So anybody coming down that end of the pier is doing so for sightseeing or whatever. So it's not really an impact or a restriction for, you know, boats passing through, I'll say. We have had at least one close call where someone was out in the creek, out in the prong on a raft, and it was very close to the point where this person now carries a marker with him when he goes out in the water because, you know, he got very, very scared at how close, you know, the boat came to him. So that's the safety concern. The erosion issue, again, it's very narrow. Boats are traveling at high speed. The wave energy doesn't get to dissipate, so it's hitting the shores. It's undercutting the bank. Trees are falling in the water. They're laying in the water. Again, it's narrow, so we got trees laying in the water from both sides in some places. So it's necking down the navigable area of the prong, and the silt from the bank is washing in, and it's you know, over time it's going to fill in the prong. We have residents who bought property there with the expectation that they would be able to use their boat on this prong, and if nothing is done, that prong is just going to continue to fill in from the bank erosion, and it's just going to get shallower and shallower over time. In the brief, I had like 15 pictures of fallen trees, if you've seen them. So there are quite a few of them. So that's the marker we intend, or the markers we intend to install at those locations. Again, and just from perspective, from that first marker to the end of the prong is about 1,500 feet. So we're not talking about a huge length of waterway that we're trying to get people to slow down on. It's about 1,500 feet. And then the last thing I'll mention is during the September meeting, there was a discussion. I think Mr. Fisher brought it up about enforcement, and I'd just like to say that enforcement, from my perspective, is a separate issue from approving a no-wake restriction. What I would do is I would kind of compare it maybe to the
25-mile-an-hour speed limit you have in your neighborhood, and it's up on a sign, and I could ask the same question, why put that sign up if nobody's in there enforcing it? So from my perspective, it's a separate issue. It falls to the Virginia Marine Police, just like they are responsible to enforce the numerous boating laws, that govern how you operate a boat. This is just another one of those restrictions or laws that they would, have to enforce. But I think the most important thing here is the awareness, not necessarily the enforcement, but the awareness. I feel like there are a lot of people who own boats that don't necessarily understand the impacts of how they operate the boat. And having a no-wake marker will give them that awareness. And if 80% of them slow down, I think we've done something good here. So that's all I've got.
All right, your water depth in there is what, 5, 6 feet at the most?
It's, just inside to the west or left of that red marker there, the furthest one in, it's about 5 feet, yeah.
And it's narrow in there, so you won't get any large boat traffic up in there. And I'm just saying that, I was up in there the other day,
Yeah.
33 feet or so up in there. I can't do any speed, I have to idle through because of the water depth in there. I guess most of your traffic is smaller boats in, and I don't know how many boats a day that you get between Monday and Friday, or between Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
How much boat traffic?
Right, so I would say that the majority of the boats coming through there are weekend boats. There are probably, the majority are jet skis. And the boats that are coming through at high speeds are usually, like Boston whalers, center consoles, something, 25 foot or less, that type of thing. But the jet skis come in there full up, just flying. They go down the end, they turn around, they go flying right back. And they throw a very large wake. I mean, it's when the jet skis go by, my boat's just rocking all over the place. And it's, undercutting all the banks that don't have riprap on them, which is mostly the southern banks. It's really, we don't feel comfortable swimming off our piers on a weekend, which is when we would be doing our swimming more so than on a weekday. And honestly, it's a disaster waiting to happen. We've had one close call, and I don't think we want to wait for the next one.
All right. Any other board members have any
Yes, sir.
comments or questions?
You've got the Bertram up the head of the creek that stays on the lift, is that correct?
I do, yeah.
I think enforcement is a question. No wake violation is a Class 4 misdemeanor. That's just about as low as you can get. I think loud music in the county is a Class 3, and the most serious is a Class 1. You do realize that if a violation occurs, if a no wake sign was put up and a violation occurs, and there's no police officer around, which is going to be 99.9% of the time,
Sure.
Any enforcement's going to have to be done by you, the complainant. You're the one's going to have to come to the magistrate. You're the one's going to have to secure the warrant. And you're the one's going to have to appear in court. Now, if a police officer happens to be there and he sees it, then it's a misdemeanor committed in his presence, and he can do all that. But like I said, 99.9% of the time, he's not going to be there. Boat owners, as you well know, are responsible for their wake at all times.
Yep.
You live within just a couple, 3 or 4 miles from the local marine resource substation, very close by.
Mm-hmm.
I do like your comment regarding awareness. I think you've hit the nail on the head right there. I'm very concerned about no wake signs, but I am concerned with your situation. We've got like 450 or more miles of shoreline in the county.
Right.
And probably 400 or more of it is situation just like yours, up in the creeks, coves, rivers, tributaries. And we put up no wake signs here, or we petitioned to it in Chesapeake Harbor this week, Cranes Creek Harbor this week, Chesapeake Harbor next week, so-and-so, and they come to us and say, well, you gave it to them, you got to give it to somebody else. I understand your safety concerns. I don't think too many trees have fell in the water because of jet skis. That erosion is a natural thing that takes place when the shoreline is not controlled. Trees fall in the water sometimes, even when the shoreline is controlled. But the people that own that property choose not to control it at this time, for whatever reason. But going back to your situation about awareness, you do have the option now that you can put up a no-wake sign on your property. You should not be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it, and your neighbors who signed that petition can do it farther down the creek and make that awareness known.
I would argue that that is a good thing to do, but when somebody is on a jet ski flying down a creek, they're not looking over here at my pier to see a sign. They're looking forward, and so the difference between a sign and a marker is that jet skier is going to go right by that marker, and he or she is going to see that.
Most 9 out of 10 no-wake signs are on the dock or the shore or something like that. Very few of them in the water. Just another obstacle to run into, especially at nighttime.
It's just a very narrow creek, and
Just like many, many creeks all over
I
Northumberland,
understand that.
up one side and down the other.
I understand that, but is it our position that we don't, do we not look at a legit safety issue or concern with people swimming, and just because we have maybe 300 other examples of this in the county, so we're not going to do it here because we have 300 other, they may come to the board and want to have a...
Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt.
Right.
That's first and foremost. And if you have people in there that are violating the current laws that are on the book, number one, they're always responsible for their wake. Number two, they got limitations on how close they can come to docks or shorelines.
That's
if
right.
any of these laws are being violated at this time, do you know of any of these laws that are being violated now?
Sure. I've had boats go by my pier closer than 50 foot.
Have you reported that to the Marine Police?
I have not.
All these things can be taken care of without no wake signs. But I do agree with you, sir. I sincerely don't want to see nobody get hurt. But I think an option to putting up no wake signs is putting signs at the beginning of the creek where you've got your first buoy out in the water, somewhere along in there. The good part is that you said that all those people up and down there have signed a petition, so they certainly would be helpful with putting up a sign. You can have original signs made, professional signs made, which you got to do anyway.
You've spoken to the narrowness of the creek several times since you've been before us. If you put a sign up on the end of that dock, entering that prom, they will see it.
May I make a comment?
Haven't opened the public hearing yet, sir.
So I would also say that, there are, if you look at the Virginia laws on operating a boat, they're numerous. Numerous. And people don't need to have any kind of education or license or anything to operate a boat, right?
Yes, they do.
They just...
Yes, they do. Yes, they most
Do they?
certainly do, sir. Jet skis, anything. Yes,
Okay.
they do, sir. They have to pass a course to do it.
All right,
They don't pass the course,
okay.
they don't get to come in.
I just moved to Virginia, so but I know...
Virginia state law on boating is taken right from the Federal Register. So
Okay.
Virginia monitors, goes right along with the Federal Register law on boating safety laws. All of them are neck and neck the same.
All right.
I live right up the creek from you. Sometimes right now, I got 15, 18, 19 boats tied at my place right now. And I get aggravated with the jet skis every once in a while. Sometimes I have to go down and fuss at them a little bit. But the majority of them do what they're supposed to do. But you do have the option now that you didn't have just a few years ago, and that is you can legally put up no-wake signs. They're not enforceable by law, but they are awareness, and that's what you spoke of a while ago, was awareness.
They're not enforceable by law, but they are still responsible for their wake.
And all captains are responsible for their wake at any time.
Yeah.
If I'm out there in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay fishing in my skiff and you come by and make a wake and throw me in the water, I'm coming after you. The law's coming after you. In the middle of the Chesapeake Bay. Wide open water, but you're still always responsible for your wake.
All right, any other questions before we open the public hearing? Mr. Howard, you have any other questions or comments, sir?
No, I don't.
All right. Let me open this public hearing. All right, I have no one on the sign-up sheet. Would someone like to speak? Come on up, sir.
I would, sir. My name's Tom Fink. I live on Cranes Creek, and we bought the property in 2003. We've lived there. We moved here in 2008, and I haven't ever made any comment about speeding on that little area. But what happens is there's the big bay where the water jet skiers go through, flying through, and they have their fun. And that's where the water skiers go, and that's not an issue. We did have a neighbor at where that, I wish I had a pointer, where that finger comes down. And he had a no-wake sign on his dock, and it was big, and it was completely ignored. And the reason that I'm supporting this now is it's been 10 years living there, and those properties have filled in. And there's a lot of people that come down and visit, my grandkids do now. And they swim in that water. And I've seen jet skiers come screaming by. I've got a hailer that I use that I scream at them, and that just seems to make them angry or make them go faster.
Probably so.
Huh?
Probably so.
Yeah. No, it's not probably so. It's a definite so. And if they ignore the signs on the docks, because they're not, come on, they're not going to look at the dock while they're scooting down that piece of water. The other thing is, the only reason they go down there is because it is narrow, there are no waves, so it's a great place to test out how fast you can go. And that's what I believe they do. I don't own a jet ski. All the neighbors that live around me go slow, and there's no reason for a jet skier to go racing down there only to prove how fast he can go. Now, the other issue is, if we put a no-wake buoy down there, and there is an accident, then you've got a legal sign that you can use in a legal argument against that accident. And that's the end of my comment. So I hope you give it a approval.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Anyone else like to speak?
Well, I just want to say something. I'm one of the signers of the petition. Name is Richard Stewart, and I live just about at the top of Bailey Prong. So I'm probably the least affected of the people in here, but we still are affected. And it's amazing to me the wake that a little jet ski can throw off. But having said that, it's not just jet skis. Every now and again, a boat of size, mid-20s or whatever, comes down that creek,
makes a nice sharp turn and sends all that water up to that northern part of Bailey Prong that should never see anything except in the case of a large hurricane or whatever. So it does happen, and it is dangerous. And if this is something that causes somebody to think about it before they do it, we should approve it. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak? All right, would anyone in the virtual world like to speak tonight? Anyone in the virtual world like to speak? No one? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll close the public hearing and the matters before the board.
I don't know much about the Marine Police, but in an area like that, if they're requested to patrol it, will they patrol it?
Beg your pardon?
In a situation like this, if the Marine Police were requested to patrol that area, like for a weekend, or be seen there,
Well,
would they patrol it?
I spent almost 30 years in the Marine Police, and I can tell you that, yes, they'll come in and control. It's not really their responsibility.
Okay, who's
They
it?
will enforce it, just like the Sheriff's Department can enforce it.
Okay.
If it was there. The Northumberland County Sheriff's, well, they don't do it, but they could, because they have police powers. The main enforcement's going to come up to the Game Commission, or Wildlife Resources now. It's their bailiwick, and they'd be the ones to enforce it, if anybody was. There again, that cove right there, the safety part concerns me deeply. I understand that. Being where I've been in my life on the water, it concerns me, no question about that. But Northumberland County's got jet skis from one end of it to the other. And if you control it like this, if you think you control it like this, phone's going to ring off the hook. That's their problem. But you better check your feet. Because like I said, Northumberland County's got 450 more miles of shoreline and over 400 of places just like this, creeks, rivers, and tributaries. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And if you think that's what we need, I think signs do make effect. I think signs do make awareness. In the past, you've not been allowed to put them up there. They forbid you from doing it. If you did, they take it down. But now you have the legal right to put the actual sign on your property, on your shoreline, if you choose to do it. And
let's not forget that we just denied one of these last month. That property owner, his property, the distance between his property and the other side of the creek was much greater than what we're talking here.
Yeah.
It's my understanding that that gentleman is still going to put signs on his property, one facing up the creek and one facing out the creek, in hopes of preventing what he has going on there.
And even if you didn't have the Game Commission Wildlife Resources markers out there, if a violation comes along and you can identify the operator by, you can't just identify the boat or the vessel or the jet ski, you've got to be able to identify the operator. Still, the burden of proof comes against the complainant, unless law enforcement is there on the scene, because 99% of the time it's going to be a class 1 misdemeanor, not committed in the presence of an officer. Therefore, the citizen is going to have to go forth and take legal action, which that's entirely up to them. They can do that. That's no problem. They do it every day. I don't like wake. I don't like people. But like I said, I haven't seen a pine tree fall in the water yet because of a jet ski. There are some that don't act the way they should, and they should be reprimanded or cited or whatever. The majority of them do halfway decent, but there are always those who don't. 1 or 2 in every basket.
All right, anything else, Mr. Fisher?
I'm gonna make a motion that we deny this request.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Now, do I have any other discussion? All right, if not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right. Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a statement?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ara?
Yes.
If you and your neighbors do consider making a sign and putting it up, I'd like to hear back from you in a year's time as to whether or not it had any effect. If you do decide to do that. If you don't decide to do that, then that's your business.
I will be doing that, and I hope some of the other neighbors do too.
And I would hope that perhaps, if possible, maybe some of your neighbors can join with you and keep some kind of a record of actual violations.
Okay.
What you consider to be an actual, and you knew what the violations are. I'd like for you to come back with me with that in a year's time.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right.
And just for clarification, everyone did vote. Everyone did vote.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I have no more public hearings tonight. The only thing that we have left on our agenda is to convene in a closed meeting. So I will entertain a motion to go into closed meeting.
Need a motion that the Northumberland County Board of Supervisors convene in closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Freedom of Information Act, Section 2.23711A1 for the discussion and consideration of personnel matters, 2.23711A3 for the discussion or consideration of potential acquisition of real property for a public purpose or of the potential disposition of publicly held real property where a discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the board's bargaining position or negotiating strategy. 2.23711A7 for consultation with legal counsel and/or staff pertaining to specific legal matters where such consultation or briefing in an open meeting would adversely affect the board's negotiating or litigating posture. 2.23711A8 for consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel. And 2.23711A29, discussion of the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds, including interviews of bidders or offers and discussion of the terms or scope of such contract, where discussion in open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body. Invited to attend the closed meeting as necessary are the county administrator, county attorney, and assistant county administrator as they are deemed necessary in their presence will reasonably aid the board in its consideration of the topics to be discussed pursuant to Virginia FOIA Section 2.23712F.
All right, gentlemen, can I have a motion?
Motion made.
All right, do I have a second?
Second it.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for coming. You're welcome to wait outside. After our closed meeting, come back in. I'll speak.
Need a motion that the Northumberland Board of Supervisors return to public meeting and certify by roll call vote that only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered during the closed meeting.
All right. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right.
Second.
Thank you. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, we will do a roll call vote. Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Long? Aye. Mr. Brand?
Aye.
Mr. Fisher?
Aye.
Mr. Haney? Aye. All right, we're now back in the open meeting. Now we can discuss what we want. Dates are 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, or sooner if that's what y'all want to do.
How much time, go ahead. How much time are we going to allow for each interview, would you say?
30 minutes?
Yep.
The other thing that I would kind of mentioned it earlier in the meeting was the possibility of discussing the two bids that we have out right now for the roof and the ADV, the abandoned derelict vessels. Just keep those projects moving on. So as you're thinking of time frame, we may want to consider that too.
Chip, you said middays would be,
Yeah, I just need to be out of here if we're going to do it on Tuesday or Thursday by 5 o'clock.
okay, but anything after 12?
Sure.
Thursday is good, 22nd.
Either of those is fine for me too.
I'm all right. Told you, as long as I can be back to the house by 5:45.
What's the
That'll
earliest?
jive with
I have
mine.
a virtual class.
What's the
Well, if they
earliest?
have it earlier.
I can meet at any time. In the morning, I'm okay. I'm flexible in the mornings.
The Boo Bash is on the 24th too.
That's what I'm getting at. If we're gonna do this thing, I wanna do it in the morning. Let's get it knocked out the way because I wanna help her.
You need
Talking about 10 o'clock,
that you're gonna do it.
10 a.m.,
All right, what's your pleasure, gentlemen?
How about 9?
9?
9 o'clock, gentlemen?
9 on the 22nd.
They're not having court that day or anything on it?
That,
Not having court
that's
that
what
day
I
or
was
anything
going to
on
say. I need to check on it.
24?
What day is that? They could have circuit court any
That's
day.
a Thursday.
That's a Thursday,
Yeah.
24.
They could, I don't think it would be that day, it would be circuit court, if they're having any court, circuit court. General district and juvenile won't be here, but
Okay.
Yeah, general
But you gotta
district's
check-
Monday, juvenile's Friday.
you gotta
Now,
check for circuit court.
juvenile does have extra court days on the second Thursday
Well-
today, so.
This the board will be meeting, right? Board meeting, we won't have any. Attendance
There's bound to be one courtroom open.
over there,
No, you're talking about the conference room, the old boardroom.
gonna be this us.
If it's the 24th, we should be okay. 23rd, we have auditors, so 24th should be all right.
We were talking about the 22nd and 24th.
24.
24th, 9 a.m. 24th at 9 a.m. How about that?
24th at 9 a.m.?
Yeah.
Fine with me?
Mr. Fisher?
Yes?
9 a.m.
All right, we'll lock it in then, gentlemen. That's a Thursday now.
Thursday.
Don't y'all say you can't get up now.
Look, I might call in.
Call in.
Yeah. Zoom.
We're gonna have to let you run laps then.
That's right. I don't mind running the 9 a.m., 24th.
9 a.m., yes.
Any other
And-
day. That's the only day we.
All right, what else you need, Mr. Tadlock?
The matter regarding disposing of the property at Indian Creek, if the board wishes me to go ahead and advertise that for the November meeting.
far as I'm concerned, I'm not speaking for anybody else, but I'm concerned, we just go on and advertise it.
Yes.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, if everybody's in agreement. All right. Everybody's in agreement.
All right. And then the matter regarding the Tri-County hunting on that property.
No hunting on that property. Or any Tri-County property. We got another piece too. I think that'd be the best thing. Doesn't the board feel that way? Yeah, all right.
So any clubs who would like to hunt, they come in and get the applications from you, right?
Right, and that's on, but what we'll do is we'll remove that from the application.
Till we get it cleared
That
up
property
anyway.
on Dottley,
Get it cleared up.
that's co-owned, so.
One addition to that, do we want Luttrell to reach out to the other counties to see if they have an interest in relinquish their ownership to that property?
I did. It doesn't hurt to
Doesn't
ask.
hurt to ask.
Does not hurt to ask. You either get two answers. Yes or no?
You can tell them we're having trouble with the easement, and it's going to be a cost factor to get this easement straight. And do you want to relinquish your ownership to it, or do you want to help it with the cost factor of getting the easement straight? Is that fair?
Yeah, they should have to pay easement, part of the third of the easement.
If we
Is
have
that
to hire,
correct, Luttrell, or not correct?
No, I'll talk to the county administrators.
See what the intention is with that property. That's what I would ask them, what do you?
If I could just have a motion on the other, and then anybody that has obtained a hunting permit, we will notify them of that property is no longer to be.
So you want a motion not to allow any hunting on Tri-County property?
If that's the board's
Yeah,
wish.
motion not to allow any hunting on any Tri-County property in Northumberland County.
What's that problem?
Second.
Second. Motion is second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All right, there you go.
And then that's all I have, just if you all want to carry over.
Gentlemen, you want to carry over or adjourn? Carry over to the 24th at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. sharp.
All right, that's the motion. Got a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.